Hi everyone, it's Mouse, and today I'm actually going to give you guys a tour of my backyard garden. I don't show many people this because it's mostly ornamentals and I don't do a lot of focus on ornamentals, but I've got some stuff back here that I'm actually really happy with right now, so I'm going to show you guys. So first up, on both ends of this bed I have a twist and shout hydrangea. As you can see, they're really pretty. This one's in full bloom. Looks like I'm going to get some more blooms. I'm really excited about that. It is turning pink, which is not ideal. I bought a purple one, and I guess my soil is just a little bit too alkaline. So I'm going to add some soil acidifier to the base of these and hopefully get those blossoms back to being nice and purple, because that's how I like them. Underneath that I've got some oxalis, which is an ornamental shamrock, which I think is really pretty, and it's in bloom right now. You can see all those lovely little white flowers. They're gorgeous. In between the oxalis, I have some perennial sedum. It looks almost identical to a proven winners variety called lemon coral sedum, which is an annual, but these are perennial versions, so I shouldn't have to replant those ever again. They should just keep coming back year after year, which is awesome. In here, tucked behind this hydrangea, I actually have a flat of lilies. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret. These lilies were free. They came out of the dumpster at Lowe's. Lowe's was throwing them away. They looked horrible. They looked like some absolute garbage. I just trimmed off all the gross stuff and gave them a good amount of water, and they've bounced right back. They're nice and green. Granted, they don't have the nice pointy tips on most of their leaves, but the plants are nice and healthy. They're even getting ready to bloom for me again. You can see some of the flower stalks actually have blooms on them again, which is awesome. In the middle here, I have a paniculated hydrangea. It's just your classic one. Its blooms are spent. It was a forced variety, so it's freaking out a little bit because I hardened it off, but then I planted it outside and it's had to deal with changing temperatures, and it wasn't used to that. So it's freaking out a little bit. It is still alive, and all of these panicles are actually nice and healthy. They're just not the true blue, purple, pink color that hydrangeas normally are, because it shocked a little bit this year when I planted it. Growing up my lovely arbor here, I have a purple clematis, which is beautiful. I used to have two, but I got a little overzealous this year with my flame weeder, and I accidentally flamed the base of the other one on the other side of this trellis. So now I only have one, but that's okay, because I kind of am thinking I'm gonna like the idea of putting two colors on this arbor. So I think I'm going to try to find a different shade, maybe even a different style of clematis, so that it has a bit more interest. Because it was really pretty with it just being solid purple, don't get me wrong, but I think it would look really cool to mix in a different type. Whether it's a different flower, a different foliage type, a slightly different color. I think I'm going to stay in the purple family, because if any of you actually know me in real life, you know I'm kind of obsessed with the color purple. But yeah, it's really pretty. I do love the blossoms on it. They don't work so well as a cut flower, and I don't think clematis work as a cut flower pretty much anywhere. They hold their petals for about 3-4 days, and then they all fall off. But those 3-4 days, they're beautiful, so whatever. And then behind the hydrangeas, you can't really see them right now, especially not right now. Hold on, let me go over to this side, because then I can get a better angle. I do have daffodils planted, so in the spring before the hydrangea leaves out, daffodils will pop up here and look really pretty. And then in front of the hydrangea, where you can see those brown bits right about there, those are actually tulip bulbs are in there too. I've got a bunch of different purples, some of them pinks, and this year I even planted black tulips. And I didn't actually get to see any of the blooms because I planted them way too late. Like I planted them end of February, so I wasn't expecting to see any flowers, but hopefully I'll see some next year because they did grow, so let's see. Over here in my rain barrel, I have a baby tut from Proven Winners. I believe this is a papyrus varietal actually, but I really like it in the top of this rain barrel. I think it gives it a nice look. It gives it some greenery on this otherwise giant brown monstrosity. And then of course I have all my large garden tools hung up out here just because it's easier for us. Down at the base of this rain barrel I have a simple hydrangea you can, hydrangea, hosta that you can buy anywhere. I believe that's a Patriot. I have a bunch of Patriots. I had a neighbor gift me a whole bunch of hostas. Actually, over here around our air conditioner, you can see some more of the Patriots. I am starting to broaden out on which ones I plant. So this one actually, which is shocking something horrible. It's all crunchy. I think the dogs might have chewed on it. That's actually an Empress Woo. So that one should be huge when it actually grows in. I am kind of being purposely a little bit mean to my hydrangeas. Why do I keep doing that? My hostas. Because to me, perennials should be little to no maintenance. And therefore, I don't water back here hardly at all. The only thing I really water are the hydrangeas, because they really do like a good amount of water on the regular. Over here in this pot, this one's actually a really cool plant. I've probably had this the longest out of all the plants that I've shown you guys, other than that sage plant out front. This is actually a hardy kiwi vine. I used to have two, but I had some issues with my HOA and I had to take them out. And when I took them out, one of them shocked really, really bad. And instead of it just having some sun scald, it crisped like to a pulp. I've never actually tasted the fruit off of this, but they do make edible fruit. The birds just usually get them before I do, but I like them a lot. And I used to have them growing on my arches out front, and they were really, really pretty out there. So we'll see if I get them planted back on an arch someday. Then the last thing I want to show you guys over here in my backyard are actually my persimmon starts. So these are all persimmons that I actually started from seed. So these are the toughest of the tough because I'm pretty darn mean to them. As you can see, my husband and I have our hot tub stuff just kind of tossed in here with them, but that's okay. It's out of their way. The meanest of the mean, because one of my co-workers has a whole bunch of persimmon trees, and she brought in persimmons last fall for all of us to eat. And I was like, hey, it would be really cool if I could grow on these persimmons. And she was like, you're crazy, they'll never work. And out of the 24, no, let's see, I did 6 pots originally with 4 seeds per pot, and I have 10, so that would have been 24. So I got a little bit over 50% survival rating so far. I did have more germinate, but some of them have struggled and then they've just died off, or I've said, no, you're not worth keeping, you're not worth trying to grow on. This was really just an experiment for fun. I have no idea where I'm going to put these persimmons once they actually need to be planted in the ground. But I guess I'll have to figure it out, because I'm going to have to do something with them. Because I've got some in here that are doing really, really well, as you can tell. Others are struggling a little bit, but you know what? That's okay. That's part of doing an experiment like that. So these are the Kuyu, or Asian persimmon. They're really, really sweet if you pick them ripe. And then, of course, they've got that lovely, like, jelly persimmon flavor. But I really enjoyed them. I enjoyed them enough to see, hey, let's see if I can grow some. I know I'm not going to get fruit off them, even if I get them in the ground for another probably. So they say after you plant a 1-foot tree seedling, it takes another 3 to 6 years before that tree will actually give you fruit. And it'll take a year, maybe 2, for them to get about a foot tall. So I've got a long time to worry about. Well, I don't have a long time to figure out where I'm going to put them in the ground, but I do have a decent amount of time to figure out whether or not I really want to grow persimmons. I think I do, though. I'm just not really sure where I'm going to put them. But they were a cool experiment. I proved to myself that I could. What I did was a process called chilling. So I took the seeds from the fruit that we ate, and I peeled off all the membrane and the fruit pulp, and I put them in a wet paper towel in a Ziploc baggie, and I put them in my deli drawer, in my fridge, literally in my deli drawer. And I left them there for 3.5 months. So that's in the refrigerator. That's less than 40 degrees, but not freezing, consistently for 3 to 4 months. and then I planted them on. Before I actually put them in the pots though, I did do a process called scarification, which means you just take a razor blade and you just do a little nick right above where the sprout should sprout from. And you can tell on most seeds because it's a little indentation from where it actually attaches to the fruit. And that's also where the seed's shell is the thinnest. So I just gave it a little nick there just to help it along, to help it push out of its shell a little bit. I probably babied them a little bit too much because they did sprout for me, like I said, obviously. But I had a lot of issues with the persimmon seeds husk coming off of the little baby sprouted plant. Like, I had to help probably 70% of them, if not 80%, maybe even close to 90. I had to help a lot of them actually get out of their little seed husk. The little, what are they called? Seed leaves just didn't seem to be quite strong enough to break out of that super leathery shell. So I helped them along a little bit. They were started on a heat mat under grow lights inside. They were started first. I think these were the first seeds I started this year. So I probably started these, I want to say the last week of January, first week of February. So obviously they're slow growing, but it's because they're trees. They're not an annual plant. But I'm actually really happy with them. I mean, I've got some in here that I think are going to make some really strong trees. Because, I mean, this one over here is nice and stocky. It looks like it's got a double leader already. No, it just has two really strong side branches, which is cool. And then this one over here looks great. Like, it's shot up a lot of growth. Like, this spring, it shot up to like here. Like, I think these, no, I don't know if those are the original seed leaves. They might be like remnants of them. No, maybe not. I don't know. But it shot up and then it stopped for a long time. And then within the last 3 weeks or so, it's grown about 4 inches, which is really cool. So maybe I will get some big enough this year that I can actually put them in the ground. I am going to have to pot them on this fall. I'm going to wait though until closer to dormancy, because everybody knows trees don't really like being transplanted a lot. They like to be put somewhere and let to grow on, let to grow on, let to grow on, and then transplanted into hopefully their final location. But if they're growing seedlings, you can't do that. You gotta give them time to get big enough. So I'm probably going to transplant these probably late September. But yeah. Oh yeah, and then here's the other huge feature of our backyard. My husband and I both have some, not serious, but some persistent back issues that are just annoying. So we made the leap a couple years ago and we got a hot tub. And it really does help, especially in the winter when it's cold and your joints just start getting stiff, to just get in there and soak. And it's great because our house is too small for it to actually have a bathtub inside that would fit either one of us. We're both over 6 foot, so this was kind of our only option for being able to soak at home instead of having to go to a Korean bathhouse, which we do, but this is so much easier. I mean, in the summer this year, for the first time, we have gotten a pond pump and turned the pump off in the actual hot tub. I was going to lift it, but I was just thinking, no, that lid's heavy. I don't want to lift it right now. We have a pond pump in there keeping the water moving. So the heat is off, the pond pump is on, but we're still using the same chemicals, if a little bit less, just because it's not evaporating because there's no heat. And the lid keeps it nice and cool because it's insulated to keep the heat in. It also works to keep the heat out. But we really like it. We've enjoyed our quote-unquote plunge pool a bunch of times. And yeah, I think this was probably one of our best adult investments other than the house itself, as far as our day-to-day lives, was the hot tub turned in the summer. It's a plunge pool, just with a $100 pond pump from Home Depot or Lowe's. I don't remember which, but whatever. But yeah, that's our backyard. As you can see, we do have a little bit of storage back here. This is one of those lovely offset umbrellas. Gives us a little bit of privacy when we're in the hot tub. We've got some garden storage stuff, like my garden sifters back here. I have some extra herb pots. These are really cool, but also kind of a pain in the butt. They stack really nicely. But then they also stack when you have plants inside of them, and they make like a tower. The issue is it's really hard to keep them evenly watered. So I haven't used them in a couple years, and I'm not even sure how much longer I'm going to keep them. We also have some extra trellises back here, and of course our wheelbarrow, because no garden is complete without a wheelbarrow. Trust me, I've tried. And then hanging up on the fence here behind this hydrangea, you may have already seen it, but is our fire pit. It was a gift from my mother-in-law to my husband. It has bears on the side because that's his nickname. Literally everybody calls him Bear. And we really like our fire pit, and we have discovered that if it's not in use because it doesn't have a waterproof cover, it starts to rust. So the way we're combating that now is we just hang it up on the fence, and that seems to have stopped the rust progression almost completely, which is awesome. It did come with a grill grate. We have never used it, but I can't justify throwing it away because it's a good backup piece for if our grill grate and our regular grill dies, or we need to do something bigger and we just need more space, then we can. But yeah, that's my backyard, guys. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow for our regularly scheduled vegetable garden tour. Thanks a lot. Have a great one. Bye.